Coaches Direct presents Legends of the Game. Learn football fundamentals from the top college coaches in the country. Frank Beamer, Bobby Bowden, John Cooper, Frank Solich, Bob Toledo, Joe Paterno, Boyd Epley, Mac Brown, Phillip Fulmer, and Tom Osborne. When it comes to winning college football games, very few coaches in the history of college football have done it better or more often than Tennessee's Phillip Fulmer. In just his 7th season as head coach at Tennessee, Fulmer's 1998 team won the national championship. He also ranks #1 in the nation for the best one-loss record among active college coaches. And his 86% winning percentage is one of the best ever in NCAA history. Phillip Fulmer's roots at Tennessee run very deep indeed. He was an offensive guard at the school from 1969 through 1971, helping the Vols to a 30-5 record. His senior year, Fulmer was a team captain. He returned to Tennessee in 1980 to become the team's offensive line coach. During the next 12 years, Fulmer earned the reputation as one of the top O-line coaches in the country. In fact, 17 of his offensive linemen went on to play in the NFL. Long recognized as a molder of premier offensive lines and a relentless recruiter, Fulmer made the successful transition from top assistant to head coach at Tennessee in 1992. And he is already taking his place as one of the legends of the game. The trademark of Coach Fulmer's Tennessee teams have been explosiveness and balance on offense, along with a stingy and aggressive defense. But the real foundation has been Phillip Fulmer's dedication to solid fundamentals. For the next 60 minutes, Coach Fulmer shares his philosophy and fundamentals with an emphasis on the offensive line. Practice these fundamentals, and you too can play or coach championship football.
First of all, I want to say how really honored I am to be a part of the Legends of the Game series. I think it's certainly a very worthwhile series of tapes that we hope you get an awful lot out of. I'm honored to be included with some great coaches that have coached some great players. I think the common thread that you're going to find throughout these tapes are the fact that the coaches have taken the potential of the athletes and developed them to maximize their performance. Every position in football is very important, whether it's offensively or defensively or in the kicking game. And the idea is to take those potentials of the young people in the different areas that they have and maximize those strengths. Football is one of the greatest team games that there is, and the chance to be involved with it is very important. And the strategies of those football games to minimize the weaknesses and maximize the abilities is what this series is all about. In this series, I will talk about offensive line play. I will demonstrate the drills with some of our former players and share our philosophies here at Tennessee. I want to help you learn the basics of what we do and what we have done to be successful. I'm very proud of the fact that in 1998 we were 13-0 and national champions, and that was a year after losing the most decorated player in Tennessee's history in Peyton Manning and 14 other young people that had a chance to go on to pro football. 8 of them were drafted and 3 of them in the first round, and that's a lot of people lost from a program. And in 1998 we won the national championship after losing all those guys. But even though we had that great year, I'm more proud of the fact that we were able to maintain our consistency for a number of years, being 45-5 in the last 4 years. And the philosophy, I guess you could say, has withstood the test of time and a tough Southeastern Conference schedule and a tough national schedule that we've been able to play. The philosophy is built around, I think, 10 principles that we think are very, very important. One, and certainly this is first and foremost, is the work ethic and commitment that you have to being the best that you can be. And that's not just athletically, that's academically and socially as well as athletically. 2 is the expectations that are out there, to be the best that you can be at whatever you desire to be, whether it be in football or in the classroom, and certainly as a person. We want to build what we do here at Tennessee around fundamentals of the game, and again, offensively and defensively and kicking, taking all those things into account. We want to coach the little things here at Tennessee and make you as good as you can be. Certainly the big things are going to take care of themselves. What you do X and O wise is not that big of a concern. It can be a lot of different philosophies in the way you approach the game, but to do the little things every day to be the best that you can be. We have played a lot of people here at Tennessee. It's been a great advantage for us. A young guy that might not quite be ready to go out and play every down, but he can get in and make a contribution. And when you have an injury or when you go to practice and in the fourth quarter you want to count on a young person, he's able to be there and help you. One of the things that was different that got us over the hump is the ball security, and I think the offensive line takes a great role in that. Of taking care of the football, not giving up easy scores, and being able to keep your defense off the field and moving the football is an aspect that you have to coach every day. Kicking game is something certainly here at Tennessee it's been ingrained in me. You go back to General Nealon and all the way through all the coaches that have been at Tennessee, kicking game has been a very important part of what of our success. We want to use the kicking game as a weapon, as a chance to score or have great changes in field position in our favor by using the kicking game. We have a real strong philosophy about physical play, and we've changed as we needed to. From '89 we were led to SEC in rushing, and in 1990 we led to SEC in passing, so we were able to make the change, but never losing the physical edge of playing physical football on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We want players reaching their potential, and the way you do this, in my opinion, is the best players that you have, you coach them the hardest, and they lead by example. Obviously, recruiting comes into that, young men with ability and to play the game and maximize and improving that ability through nutrition, through strength, and through conditioning, and obviously game experience gets to be a factor there. We want to be balanced as a football team as much as we can, run the football first, control the clock. That takes weather out of it. That takes factors such as injuries out of it and puts it back in our control if we can run the football. I'd like to talk just a couple of minutes about the educational aspects of playing football and why it's important, not only for the short term of why you're playing, but for life in general. One, you learn about teamwork, about working with other people and coaches and being a part of something that's special. And that doesn't mean that you always have to win all of your football games, but you're working within a team just as you will once you get out into the business world or once you get out into doing something in society that you want to be productive. Certainly to be a successful football player, you have to have commitment. And that's what the people of the world are looking for when they're going to hire you, somebody that's committed to being the best that they can be and being a success. In football, you have to sacrifice. It's not an easy game. If they did, everybody would be playing it. And sacrifice for others and sacrifice for the good of the team is something that you learn from playing football. You want to learn how to win gracefully. So many people anymore set the wrong example, and here at Tennessee we always say, hey guys, act like you've been there before when you score a touchdown and when you win a game, and be humble and have humility about what you're doing, and because there'll be another time that you have an opportunity to set an example for someone else. Learn how to fight back after a loss. You know, it's tough to lose, and that's what business people like. They're not going to get every account that ever came across their desk, and they've got to know how to get back up and go fight, and you learn those things in football. Certainly it's important to be unselfish, to learn to depend on others, and they can depend on you. Football builds great character, and we have a favorite saying here that we want character, not characters, in our program, and the discipline that our program and the consistency that our program had, I think reflects that. We have another kind of acute saying, I guess, that we want line touchers. You know, guys, what are you going to do when the coach is not looking? Are you going to be the guy that touches the line and runs back and touches it again when the coach is not there looking for you? And that's a great lesson to learn in life. You're going to build relationships with coaches, with teammates that will last forever through football, and certainly last but not least, but having pride in a job well done. I want to get to what the tape is all about, and that's offensive line play. And I played offensive line here. I coached offensive line. I was a captain here at Tennessee, and I have great pride in the position. And the players that play the position, to me, are the ultimate of football players. And there's a bond that happens with offensive linemen and an offensive line coach that, in my opinion, is second to none in any sport, anywhere. I truly believe, and I mean this with all my heart, that how the offensive line goes, so goes the team. They set the tempo for the toughness of the team. The offensive line can control the game. To me, you have a direct effect on every play as you go into the preparation of a game or into the actual game itself, and you're going to share in the successes of the touchdowns, of the wins, more than anybody else on the team, because you do affect the game on every play. I would say first and foremost that we're looking for guys that want to play physical football, to dominate the line of scrimmage, whether it be a run or a pass. The term skill position really bothers me sometimes, because you're talking about those guys out there that can run fast or throw and catch and do those things. To me, the most skilled people on the offensive team, or maybe on the football team in general, have to be the offensive line. You have to be the toughest guy on the field. You have to be the smartest guy on the field. You have to take your strengths and maximize those, and certainly learn to minimize your weaknesses, and be the hardest workers on the field. There's fundamentals and techniques that have to go into every play, and there's lots of ways to skin a cat when you're trying to block a defense or block a particular person. And the more you do those kind of things, the more successful you're going to be. But in my opinion, the whole football team and the whole scheme of things depends on the success of the offensive line. Those are some of the general philosophies that I think that it takes to play football, and some of the great things about college football. And now let's get down to some of the nitty-gritty on the field with the drills. We are very excited this morning to have the help of some outstanding football players. All of them played here at the University of Tennessee. Jarvis Rito, who was an outstanding player for us for 3 years, a starter and on our national championship team. Mercedes Hamilton, also a starter on our national championship team and one of our captains. David Douglas. David played for us several years ago and played 6 years of pro football. Appreciate him. And Brad Lampley this morning's helping us also. Was an outstanding player for us and is now a graduate assistant for us. With any athletic event that you attempt to do, it's very important to have the very beginning of the basics. In football, it's the stance. We have a demonstration here this morning. Both of these young men are right-handed guys. We use a line on the field, coaches, and I think that's very important to be a landmark for us, so that we can look and see the stagger that they actually have. We want to try to be as uniform as we possibly can. As these two young men go ahead and get down, you'll see that they're going to have a good shoulder width stance, both of them with their hand out above their shoulder pad, not under their helmet. On their right side of their body, in this case, a left-hander would be just the opposite. You can see that both of them have their toes in, heels out, backs flat, head up. We want to be able to see everything that we possibly can in front of us, so that we can see what the defense is doing. Some young men will prefer to drop maybe their right foot back even further, not necessarily out, but back further, and to maintain that balance. And we want to be able, to have a stance that we're able to get out of, to run, block right, block left, and certainly be able to come back in pass pro. Obviously, getting warmed up in football is very important. We've already been through our normal flex exercises and have come to an individual time here with the offensive line. We want to really work again on the line as much as we possibly can, so I can see their stance, I can see their first step. All right, guys, we're going to go first sound. First sound. Here we go. Go! Obviously, what we're working on here is getting ourselves loosened up. The guys are about half speed. We're still working on our stance, working on our takeoff with our right foot. Go. The guys are getting themselves good and loose and getting ready for an outstanding practice. Left foot this time, gentlemen. Here we go. Go. I'm interested in their start, their takeoff, their body position, their look, how they're going to look on contact. Go. Okay. And also getting them good and loosened up as we go. All right, this is our two-step explosion drill. The guys are going to work their stance again. Here we go, guys. First sound. All we're going to go is 1, 2, and explode and see what kind of punch we can get. First sound. Go! Good. You see both of them take short first step, back again. Here we go. Back again. First sound. Both of them take great first steps, and they bring their hands in a hurry. Go! Good. Attaboy. To me, this is the most fundamental of all blocks that we'd have as an offensive lineman. Base block, driving 5 yards, finishing a perfect hit. First sound. Here we go. Go! See, get them good footwork, good leg drive, good body position, thin. Good. Good. Keeping all of our fundamentals of our stance and our start, our explosion and leg drive, we want to finish the block. This is called the finish drill. First sound. Go! Finish, 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 finish. Good. Attaboy. Good. Her back. Down the field, finish the block. Those old defenders don't always cooperate. They want to run from you, and it's important that an offensive lineman has great feet and a great will to finish the block. Same fundamentals of our stance and start, explosion, leg drive, and then we're going to finish. First sound. Go! Push, 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 push. Finish, 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 finish. Good. That way, David. Good. One of the absolute keys for an offensive lineman is to stay low. We can do the same drills that you just saw on tape, and we add the shoot to it. This happens to be a little bit taller because we have a number of tall guys, but you can make this in the shop at the school at any height that you would like for it to be and use it for any number of things. It can be for an option team or a veer team where you're really staying low. Obviously, you'd make the shoot lower. If you're more of an I team, it might be higher as we have it here. We're going to demonstrate just some of the same drills that we did, but under the shoot. Here we go. Driving all the way through. First sound. Here we go. Go! Bam, right there. Good leg drive, good body position, good base. Great. Good job. One of the things you're going to be noticing about all these guys is they have all the power angles together in their feet and their knees and their butts down and their shoulders up, but every one of them have used their hands extremely well. The hands are a great weapon and a great part of what we try to teach here at Tennessee, and not as a whole. Now, you do not want to get it out of the framework of the body, but if we took this bag away and we just fit perfectly into the defender right there, first we're head, then we're hands, and we're following, and we're going to push with our butt, our legs, and our hands to finish any block that we make. We're going to work on the different types of pulls that we use here. We're going to pull right, guys. First sound. Here we go. Here we go. You see both of them again in the great stances. Go! All right, good. Both of them are working the sweep pull. We want to open our hips. We want to open our foot, pull ourselves around as David did right there, get ourselves turned, working to lead the sweep. Here we go, first sound. Two of you together, going right. Go! Right there, all in one motion, no false steps, getting ourselves up the field and turn as quickly as we can. Going left. Go! No false steps, getting our feet open, getting ourselves turning up the field. Ideally, we are completely opening our hip and gaining and losing ground at the same time. Gaining ground toward the play and losing ground on the line of scrimmage and being able to turn and run. Many times we'll be responsible for a linebacker, so this time we're going to, y'all get a little closer together, we're going to pull and keep our shoulders square to the line of scrimmage in case our linebacker's shallow and is going to run through on us. Here we go, first sound. Going right. Go! Right there, shoulders a little bit more square than Jarvis had right there. A little bit more square, facing that linebacker that might run through on us. First sound. Go! Eyes on that linebacker, shoulders square. Good. Now we're going to pull and trap. This can be the short trap or it can be the counter trap, but we're going to pull right, keep our shoulders square to the defender that we're getting ready to trap. First sound. Here we go. Go! All right, good. We're going left, guys. Just like any other trap situation, if we can't kick him out, we're going to log him. We're going to make something happen with a guy. Go! Good. Right there, all right? Good. We've been through quite a bit of practice at this point and gotten ourselves good and warmed up, and our first full speed stuff is usually down the line drill. I want to show this to you from behind because it's very important that you see the steps and the landmarks. The same principles, here we go, guys. Same principles of the toes on the line, the same short first step, and we're looking for landmarks. Base block, first sound, here we go. Driving 5 yards. Go! Hit and drive, hit and drive, hit and drive, good, hurry back. Those guys will give them a good fit. Our first live work of the day, here we go, going to go first sound, here we go, right foot, base block, first sound. Go! Bam, right there again, you can see both of them trying to use their hands, rolling their hips, getting a good base block. We're going to work now the offset of the defender. We certainly can't dictate where they're going to line up. We've got to be able to block them anywhere they line up. Same stance, same starts, working for an outside landmark. First sound, here we go. One of the very important things about this, that's very good, Jarvis. Same block to the left. One of the very important things is you have great actors by the defensive people. First sound, here we go. Go! Good, good, good. Way to follow with your hands and feet. Good, attaboy, hurry back. You notice me saying hurry back each time. One of the things that's very important to me is tempo in practice and the guys understanding what you're expecting as a coach. And practice actually becomes easier as you go through and you get them conditioned for what you expect early in practice all the way through teamwork at the end of practice. We're going to continue going through all the blocks that the kids might have during the course of the game. We just had the stretch block, now we've got the down block. Same stance, good first step across that line, first sound. Go! Blocking down to pin him, all right, good. You see David really did a good job of getting his butt around, going back to the other side to the right. Here we go. He may be the right tackle one week and the left tackle the next, or so on and so on, because we're going to put our best players in the game. First sound. Go! Blocking down to finish. Good. Good job, David. You know, still on the line, and one good thing I like about this drill is you can use 5 at a time and get a lot of tempo and a lot of guys working, but now we're going to work on the draw block. We move the guys to their heels up on the line where their toes have been on the line. Now we just want to get a pass rush set, or pass set and a pass rush out of the defender. Here we go. First sound. Go! Good set, good movement, working him out and wide, out and wide. Still in the down the line series of all the blocks that he might have. This is called a reverse block that we use quite a bit. First sound. Go! Step, angle, push. All right, good. Centers use this a lot on counter block when they're blocking back. We can use it on any of our option series. Here we go. First sound. Go! Right foot lead. Good, 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 good. Hurry back. We've gotten through most of the individual blocks that the kids might have during the course of the game, and obviously in the offensive line, you've got to be able to combo block. Here we're setting up what we call a pop and turn drill with a 3 technique, and the guard and tackle working to the backside linebacker. It could be the center and guard, it could be the tackle and tight end. Here we go, first sound. Combination block. Go! Good, we eat the down man and we search out the backside linebacker. That's not bad by either one of those guys. First sound. Inside steps by both young men are going to push the down man as long as they can. Go! Push the down man and search the linebacker. Good. Both of them are looking for that backside linebacker and they're looking for movement. Still staying in the framework of the combination blocks, we often will block down, as you saw in the individual drills, and pull the onside guard for the linebacker. Here we go. First sound. Great first step. Great finish by the offensive guard. Going to the right. Go! Pin, good, good, good. Mercedes keeping his shoulders square and finishing up what we're getting done there. Staying within the combination blocks that we have, obviously one of the things that we've had good success with is the trap and the counter trap. These two young men are going to block back and we're going to trap the onside defender. Here we go, first sound. Go! Good, good. Working inside out, trying to get the inside out position and finishing. Her back once more. We'll flip it over and we'll let Jarvis pull and trap. Here we go, first sound. Go! Good, good. Trapping inside out. Good job. I think most of the time the most important block are the backside blocks that we get done. Jarvis will demonstrate it here, trying to get to the inside leg and scramble and getting upfield, not worrying much about movement. We're worried about getting in between him and the ball carrier. Here we go, first sound. He's going to shoe shine him. Go! Right there, working himself up the field. Just a scramble block, get inside. We've all done it for 100 years. In whatever offense we have, we've got to cut off the backside defender. Obviously, the ball's going this way. If we were to get some kind of outside movement, and he's going to work strictly, I'll be the backside linebacker, he'll just work to the next level. Here we go, first sound, work himself up and search out the backside defender. He's got an area here. Go! Right in there. He's going to work out and find something to do, find work downfield. That's what we call a shoe shine block. And now we're going to work what we call a fish hook block. It'd be a slow hitting play backside, and all Jarvis wants to do is make sure he works for high, hard body position. Here we go. First sound. He's going to have a great takeoff again with the inside foot. Finish the block. Go! Good. Working ourselves up the field to make sure that we try to stay inside out. Movement is not as imperative as making sure body position is maintained. Now we're going to work the backside combination block. We call this a slip. We can work a tight slip or a wide slip. Here we go, a combination of blocking the three and a backside linebacker. The play's obviously going to the left here. Here we go. First sound. Go! Two guys working together to push the down man, work to themselves to the backside linebacker. Good. See, all these cases, they've got the great base, the great leg drive, and the great finish each time. If we've got movement, if we got a three, go to a one, the tackle becomes responsible for the linebacker. Line up in a three and go to a one. Guard ends up with a down man. Here we go. First sound. Toes on the line again. Here we go. Go! Good. Guard ends up. Tackle works himself to the linebacker. This can be a backside block. It's the same principle as a zone block onside. Staying in the framework of backside blocks. This is what we call a rub block. We want to stop the defender from getting to the play, obviously, and work to the second level linebacker. Jarvis will be the point man, and Mercedes is going to be the rub guy. Here we go. First sound. Go! Push, 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 working ourselves off to the backside linebacker. Mercedes could give him a little bit more help. That's why you were looking at him, right, Jarvis? Huh? A little bit more help as we push through the down man. Just play straight. Yeah. Just play straight. Here we go. Four technique. Here we go. First sound. Here we go. Go! Good. Attaboy. Well done, well done, well done. Good job. This is our linebacker cut drill. Mercedes is getting ready to go to pro camp here in a couple weeks, and I'm not going to ask him to get himself all bruised and banged up, but this is a really important block for us. Same thing as we start always with his toes on the line. He wants these bags represent defenders that he'll have to take an angle off of, and he's searching for the onside thigh pad of the linebacker. David's obviously just going to give him the bag. Coaches, don't get you somebody hurt here by this drill. Make sure the bag's outside the framework of the body. Here we go. First sound. Go! Mercedes is going to take a great angle, and he's going to cut right through, throw, and as you saw, he went well past the defender, which is, I think, is very, very important because those linebackers are working on getting their hands down and keeping their legs free, and Mercedes just cut the guy off and knocked him down or made him run behind him. I can promise you those linebackers do not like to be thrown at this way, and Mercedes is going to take a great angle right off the hip of that down man. First sound. Go! Great angle, right up the field. Well done, Mercedes. One of the things I think the most important about being in the offensive line is the great pride that it takes to play the position. These guys have all played it and played it well and represented the University of Tennessee very well, and you're going to get on the ground some, and you're not going to get the perfect fit of the block all the time. And the tremendous effort, the tremendous commitment to finish the block, and the pride that the group takes together and bonding together to be the best group on the field is very, very important. And once you get that established, you've got something special for your offensive team and really for your football team. We're going to now take a look at some of the pass pro drills that we do. We got through most of our run stuff, and And obviously you've got to be able to throw the football, and you've got to be able to protect the quarterback at Tennessee. We use a lot of pre-shift stance. In other words, we allow our kids to stay up. Again, we use the line, our toes in, our heels out as much as we possibly can. I use the line to see the stagger. Also, it allows me to see their first set. If Mercedes were going to take a set here to his right with his right foot with an outside shade go, okay, I would see that toe and heel move and actually know that he's moved it 3 or 4 inches and got himself in a good body position. Go ahead back again, Mercedes. If he is setting, and whether it's from a down position or up position, and that foot were to go up with an outside set, I know that he's gotten himself in trouble. If he's moved it and he's gotten himself back in here, Mercedes, back in here somewhere, I know that he's being soft because he's well off of the line that we're using as a landmark for us. Many kids can't or won't, until they actually practice it, follow their first set with their second set. I want the left foot to do the same thing that the right foot's doing, and as he goes, first sound, go. As he moves both feet. He gets himself in a position to ready himself. Obviously, in our case, our hands will be up. Depending on your rules in high school or junior high, how you'll be able to use your hands. But it's not really the hands as much as I think is we want to maintain those toes in, heels out, the body position that he gets himself in to be able to pass pro. That's a good butt down, shoulders back as much as we can. He's in a movable position here, able to move right or left as he needs to, and he wants to move with the defender. He also wants to use his hands to keep the framework of the body of the defender and pull him back, if you will. We can't grasp cloth or certainly get outside the framework, but we want to be able to keep the framework of the defender inside our framework. From the set position with the heels on the line, I'm going to give Jarvis a set from pre-shift position. Also, he can do it from a down position. And what we're working at right here is pass wave. He doesn't want to give much ground as he goes. He doesn't want to click or cross. Here we go, first sound, go! We've got a good set. Now we're going to work right, we're going to work left, want to work right, and want to work left. Good. It's just the principles of making sure that our framework stays in the framework of the defender. We want to make sure that we try to keep the defender on the line of scrimmage as much as we can, but oftentimes he'll take an outside or an inside route that we've got to intersect, and this is to give ground a little bit. Same thought of the drill, the pass wave, but we're going to give ground. First sound, go! Here we go, he's going to work himself, and this is really to work him, make him open his hip, and I'd like for Jarvis to get his toes down the field just a little bit more. We don't want to be duck-footed. Come here, David. All right, he's going to do it from a down position. Here we go. Go! We're up, working. Here we go. Giving her ground as we need to, giving her ground as we need to, giving her ground as we need to. Good. I want to show this from behind because it's a mirror drill. It's very important that we just put together what we just did on air, basically. Now it's on you, Brad. Here we go. First sound. Go! Mirror. All we're doing is working the mirror. All right, good right there. Not looking for a lot of contact, trying to make sure that we got the toes down the field and the great feet to stay in between. We can do it with hands, no hands. There we go. Staying to work, staying in between as much as we can. Give some ground each time, toes down the field. All right, good. Good, Brad. This is what we call a quick set drill, which is all we're trying to do is get our position so that we can punch and use our hands. Here we go. First sound, straight rush. Go! Bam, right there, get those hands inside where you want them to be. Again, I can do 4 or 5 linemen at the same time against 4 or 5 scout defenders. You can see Mercedes is going to make sure that his set is over and back to the left to get that inside position on the defender. First sound, go! Bam, right there, the guy's coming to him, that's freeze. I can look and tell how much ground he's given because I've used that landmark of the offensive line right there. He's given a pretty good bit of ground. I'd like him to be maybe a little bit firmer than that as he goes from a heel on the line to a toe on the line. The wider the defender is, obviously the further off the line that he'll have to be. Now we're going to get into a little bit of contact, okay? We've got the guys setting good out of their stances, okay? We're going to get into a little bit of contact with one hit. All I want the defender to do is take one side, and David don't want to be too aggressive like that. We want to make sure that we get ourselves in a good pass pro position and manage the first move that the defender might have. Here we go, one hit. Here we go, that way. Here we go, first sound. Go! Good, right there, good, working, attaboy. One hit, one move. All right, here we go. I'm over here instructing off of what the defender's best move might be that we're getting ready to play. I'm instructing a rip or a swim on the one move. Here we go. First sound. Go! Good swim action. David's working himself inside out. Attaboy, not bad. Most defenders are going to give you more than one move, and now we're going to work on defending against two moves, one way or the other. Jarvis is on offense, Mercedes is on defense. Give me that way, and then that this way. Here we go. First sound. Jarvis got to hit and react. This is as real as it gets before you scrimmage or play. First sound. Go! Great move right there. He stopped the swim with the first set. He reacted to the spin move. All right, you two flip it over. We can work 4 or 5 guys at a time here, spread them out a little bit, getting great video work from behind. Good set, good reaction right there. Stop the rip on the first move, stop the spin on the second move, okay? One more time. I'm going to really try to get old Mercedes here this time. Give me that, okay, and that this way. First sound. Here we go. First sound. Anything you can be creative to do or whatever the best pass rush that the defender has. Go! Right there is good. There's a spin. You got to come back and react. Good. Good. Well done. Not bad. One of the things that you can do in the off-season program or at any time just to teach a kid to use his hands is just stand there as a coach or get the other guy and catch me there, Brian. All right, I'm going to lean, okay? I'm working. I'm trying to get him to come forward, and I almost got him that time, okay? But just teaching the kid to punch me back, okay? Staying in the framework of trying to move our feet and getting the timing. It's hard for a big guy sometimes, especially a young guy, to time the timing of being able to contact a defender in pass pro and keep his feet working at the same time. And we use a medicine ball just to help that, just like the lean-in drill that we did. This is just hand-eye coordination and getting the timing. Okay, now we can throw the medicine balls down, and we actually try to time it up versus a defender. You guys get a little bit closer than that. Okay, and we'll start from your left, middle, and then right. All right, here we go. First sound. Go! Punch, punch, punch. Good. Now, I'm going to do the same thing to Jarvis, and this is kind of where we go most of the time. You guys back away just a little bit, and I'm going to point to the defender. He doesn't know where he's going to come from. He's got to shuffle to the defender that he's coming, and again, working the body position and the punch. Here we go. First sound. Find your man. Go! Here we go. Back. Here we go. Back. Hurry back. Good. Good. All right. Very well done. Many times a kid wants to just hit and collapse his hand. We want to hit and rough him up a little bit, shake him down is what we call it, throw him away, and then look for the next defender. Here we go. This is our shake him down drill. Here we go. First sound. Go! Here we go. Shake him down, throw him away. Shake him down, throw him away. Good, good. Working right there. Coaches, one of the things that I did that I thought was really good, this is David demonstrating, and you see he's having some even difficulty now. I put gloves on a dummy, not a real heavy dummy, but this makes him have to sit down. He can't stand up. He can't stand up and hold that dummy up. He's got to be able to sit down and get into a pass pro position, and this gets his hand extended to be able to do this, to hold this dummy. Now we can do a wave drill from right here, any way you want to go, David. There you go. So he can work right there, right and left as he wants to. Good, good, that's good. But finding that position is very, very important for the offensive lineman, that he is in perfect balance, that he can deliver the blow and have his hands out front and be able to stay down. Another way, just trying to be creative in our drills is to try to find that perfect position and play from it. From pass pros, we've taken a regular, this is almost like a broomstick. We've actually had these made, and Brad's going to be on defense, so his hands are outside the widest, and Jarvis is going to be on offense, so his hands are inside just like they want to be. He gets into a good pass pro position, and Brad is free to do anything with this stick that he wants to do. He can push him back as a defender would try to do. If he pulled down right or left, it's like a defender trying to pull your shoulder pads down. He can pull him to him. And again, all we're trying to do is teach Jarvis to keep that centered position and react accordingly. If it pulled down, he's going to restrict it any way that he possibly can. We'll demonstrate it here just real quick as we go. You're on defense, you're on offense. Here we go, and we can move right or left, either as we go. First sound, go. Here we go. Jarvis is just control of his body and control of the stick. Good, that's well done. I really want to say a special thank you to these guys for helping me this morning and helping make this tape for you. You know, playing in the offensive line takes an awful lot of pride and effort, as we talked about. It takes a lot of skill, too, and took a lot of years and a lot of drills for these guys to perfect these things that you just watched on tape. And it drives me crazy when I hear people talk about skill positions, and I think the offensive line, you have to be the most skilled, most disciplined position on the field. Obviously, as we look at the different blocks, the fundamentals of doing the particular blocks are the most important things, starting with the stance and the starts and the proper fits and positions and the finish and the low button, high hat moving through a defender are all going to be very important. But to help put the whole thing together, just to explain when we use some of the different blocks in general, if we had a base block, which you'll see us work in some of the drill films, that would basically be when the point of attack is at the defender. We don't have this very often where it's one-on-one, but that's the old inside foot, down the middle, hit and lift and finish the block to give us a chance to run. If we're running a play that's outside, maybe a sweep type play, then we're going to do the old down the line drill, and hopefully you'll have some carryover from individual to group to teamwork to the game. And now we're working that right foot step on trying to find that outside landmark and finishing the block. And hopefully if we do get any stretch out of the defender, it will be in that direction. So that would be an example of what we call a cutoff block. Many times, as you see us working, we'll do different kinds of pulls. Again, if we're staying, this being the onside. If we're doing a sweep pull, we want to be able to pull and keep our shoulders square to the linebacker as we look at him. And again, the play's out here. And if we had a run through, that we can actually stop and block him and hopefully outside in. If he runs with a tailback and running to the sweep and our shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage, then we're going to be able to front the linebacker at some point over there, and the tailback would have a chance to run off of our block. If we, staying with the pulling techniques, if we're trapping, which again is a good pulling technique, but if we're trapping, usually that comes from the backside, and the guy's pulling. He wants to be inside out on the defender as he tries to close the off tackle or the counter play. Within the system, if the guy closes too far and is down in there where I can't get inside out on him, it automatically becomes a log, and we'll take the thing and just take it one hole wider. So that's all built in. And as you see the drill film, hopefully you'll have some carryover. Another block that we use, a single block that we use a lot that you'll see on tape, is the reverse block. And it's a good block just to have a guy that might be a little bit mismatched or a guy that's up the field as a nice little changeup. We'll step back and drive through the defender and actually put a reverse type move on him to just keep him there. And we can do that on the sweep, we can do that on the counter, we can do that on any number of blocks. Getting into some of the combinations that we'll see when we get to the tape, we want to stay with this being an onside of an offensive type play, where two linemen might be working together for any two particular individuals or defenders. We call this one the pop and turn, where we get a good takeoff, inside foot, and we're trying to get a great push on the down man, and one of these two men, depending on the movement of the defender, will work himself off to the backside linebacker, and we call that a pop and turn. If the three technique worked himself inside, then obviously now it's the tackle coming off, but those two being accountable for two people also. We use that on the off-tackle play. We use that on the counter play. And it could be any combination of two linemen. It could be that the guard and center are working a pop and turn. It could be that the tackle and tight end are working the pop and turn on the counter or the off-tackle play. Another one that you'll see on the tape as we go through it is the inside call or inside block. And we have a number of ways that we call this. We obviously don't want the defense to know every time we say inside what's coming. But now we're responsible for an onside linebacker, and it's a combination block between those two guys. They want to end up with a great first step and hip to hip and a great push on the down man, and eventually we'll be working off to an onside linebacker rather than a backside linebacker. So that's what we refer to as an inside call or an even block in our scheme. Any of the combination blocks that we do, we really try to work in the individual work. I have a great belief that you do what you do in the ball game in the individual work. So many guys will go in and do drills that really don't have any carryover, and we go from individual to group work and from group work to teamwork and try to make it as realistic as we can as to what the kids are going to see that particular week in the game. And we'll also try to emphasize what their weaknesses might be, what they need to work on to improve themselves, and be specific with drills for just individuals or pairs if they're working together, what they need to get better at. Many times I think the backside of plays go really unnoticed. Coaches kind of let that go. They think if they get everything done onside that they're going to have a successful play, and when you play the better teams, that's not necessarily the case. So we spend a lot of time on our backside blocks, and one of the first ones, being an I team, that you'll see us do in the drill tape is the fish hook. And if we've got a good wide 3 or 5 technique, it doesn't matter. It could be any of the positions. I'm just going to use a tackle here. Is we want to really be able to come off. And we tell them to come off for 3 good steps, inside, outside, inside, before they start any other moves, to make sure they stop the inside move of the defender. And then we go to what we call a fish hook. And it's just because it looks a little bit like a fish hook is where the name comes from. But our goal is to keep the defender from pursuing to the play, hopefully make him run a hump. If he does try to go over the top, that we're able to keep him running deeper. But that's what we refer to as a fish hook. That's usually a slow hitting play or an inside type play. If we were running a fast hitting play or an outside type play, it would be the same thought process as far as takeoff, but it would be much lower. And as you see on the drill tape, we call it a shoe shine, because now all we're interested in doing is getting between and upfield and past even the defender, because now the play is going to hit fast or going to hit wide, and he really has no chance if he doesn't cross your face to go and pursue and being on the play. And it gives us an opportunity to block a second level defender, whether it be an end or if they're really hustling and you've really done a good job of pushing them, they can go and block somebody in the secondary. Still staying with the backside type blocks, oftentimes you have a linebacker, and we'll do a linebacker cut drill almost every day in practice just to help the kids understand the angles that they've got to take. Obviously, an awful lot of it depends on the speed and the ability of the linebacker. We usually put a dummy down here. Right here we've got a defender actually lined up, and his angle is right through the feet of the defensive lineman to intersect at an angle to get to the linebacker. And if we were running an outside play or, again, a fast-hitting play away, then we would go ahead and cut the backside linebacker. And we usually try to tell them to cut them around their thigh, around their hip, and they want to actually explode and end up past the linebacker, again, trying to make the guy run behind us, or if he tries to go over the top, we're definitely going to get him knocked down. So we do a good job, I think, here of taking great angles to cut off the linebackers. If we had a slow-hitting play or a play that might get back in there, instead of cutting the linebacker, we would go to a climb the linebacker so that we are actually working for a movement, and hopefully physically we've got some mismatch there with our size and the defender having to claim his gap, and we're able to get some movement so that when the play did get back over there, we could have some positive yards. Just as onside, there's oftentimes that you have backside combination type blocks to account for 2 defenders by 2 offensive linemen, and oftentimes you'll have, and this could again be a guard and center or tackle and guard or tackle and tight end, it doesn't matter, but we want to work a combination block that we block the 2 most dangerous defenders, and if the play is away from me, inside or outside, this becomes the least dangerous of these 3 defenders that are remaining on the backside. So we call this a slip. It can be a wide or a tight depending on the style of play. If it's an inside play, obviously it's a tight slip. If it's a wide play, then obviously it's a wide slip. So if it's a tight slip, we want to push through the down man and work off to the second level and backside linebacker, and the tackle wants to come in there in this case and finish the block. If it's a wide slip, then we'll put more of the burden, obviously now it's a wide play, we'll put more of the burden on the offensive tackle to get wider and to the defender, and we'll actually hang him out some by releasing the offensive lineman to the backside linebacker, because we know if it's tossed wide or handed wide that he's going to be running much faster than he would if the ball was left inside. So that's a slip play, either wide or tight. Oftentimes we'll have a defender lined up like we want them, particularly if we can spread them out some, and now we have an opportunity, particularly on inside plays, to what we call a rub block, and now we're working the fish hook here, and we're working the center through the backside hip of the defender, whether he's a 1 technique, whether he's a 3 technique or whatever. We call this a rub block, and he rubs off and helps the guard in this case. It could be again a tackle or a guard and a tackle working together, but he works himself to a backside linebacker. And what we're trying to do basically is build the wall and cut off the pursuit of all the backside defenders, so whatever we're running on this side, whatever scheme, that we have no penetration or no leakage from backside defenders. Now let's go watch some of the tape of some of these blocks actually in games and in action. Here is an example of really some individual blocks and some combination blocks as well. Here's a base stretch by the left tackle working to an outside landmark. And even though he didn't get the defensive end hooked necessarily, he really stretched the hole and made it a wider area for the back to run in. Here you see the inside call between the center and left guard. The center getting to the middle of the defender, the guard giving him back to him, and then the guard working on up to the Mike linebacker. Here's an example of the rub that we talked about between the backside guard and tackle, rubbing the defender to the backside linebacker, cutting off that backside pursuit that we talked about, and just a tremendous job by those 2 young men. And then a base fish hook on the backside, the guy coming off, getting himself upfield, making sure he stops the inside move, and then making the defensive end actually run the hump, and you've got a pretty good running play right there. We've got the counter play to the tight end side that we talked about, and we've got a pop and turn block between the tight end and the tackle working for the tackle and the backside linebacker. And I think you're going to see a classic block by the backside or by the onside tackle here if we'll just stay with him. And this is how you want to finish a linebacker. He's responsible for him, and that's exactly what you're talking about when you talk about domination of a linebacker. The rest of the play here, we've got a chip block here by the center where he's chipping the nose guard and looking for anything coming to the backside. The onside guard is responsible through the hip of the nose guard to the backside linebacker, which he became accountable for. You can see the flow of the backfield, and the fullback really pull the 2 linebackers, which is what we're looking for. Tight end does a nice job of finishing, and we end up popping this thing with the block here. Can't quite see it, but the receiver makes a block down the field to hold the corner, and you've got a really outstanding run by a great tailback, Reggie Cobb, that takes it the distance and makes a difference, and huge difference in the ball game. Look at the hustle here by the wide receiver down the field. That's also an example of a good, disciplined football team. Here we've got a similar type play that we just ran, but the defensive end closes and we end up taking the ball outside. Here you can see the pop and turn between the offensive tackle and the tight end, pushing for the movement, working himself to the middle linebacker. Here you can see the combination block between the center and right guard as far as being responsible. This is a chip block, and he's got the nose guard all the way. Excellent job by the center of pulling the nose guard and blocking the backside. The fullback filling for the tackle. We've got it all cut off backside. The guard can't kick out the defensive end, so he logs him, and you can see the running back does a nice job. Play that's designed to go off tackle, and Chuck Webb just takes it to the outside and makes some real positive yards. Okay, kind of getting into some of the pass pro, and you know, the first thing that we showed you was the lineman doing a quick set drill, and I like this set right here by the right tackle of drop stepping, getting out of his stance, getting that good inside out position, forcing the guy to only have one way to go around the hump and being able to move and react to him. Here the offensive guard sits on the 3 technique and gets his hands on him in a hurry. There's the center working to this particular side. Our guard, our zone guard here is accountable for this nose guard initially, and the nose guard goes away and he ends up finishing the block. And our backside tackle is concerned about, for some reason, probably we've coached him up that week, that this guy's going to go inside. So his initial set with his inside foot, if you'll notice, is inside. And he does a nice job of redirecting the guy and then staying after it and staying with him, and we get the ball thrown. One of the things that I think is very important for particularly young quarterbacks is to have the separation between the line of scrimmage and the quarterback. There's just no reason to have all these guys falling around the feet of the quarterback. And the left guard here, as he takes care of his business, we haven't talked about this, but this is a wipe technique. This is finishing. If the quarterback did not have a throw to make here, he's got a definite running lane that he can scramble north and south, and we don't have the scrambles to the right and left. We want to be able to, if we scramble, run north and south and gain positive yards, or at least get back to the line of scrimmage. We've talked about trying to get matchups that we want. In this case, this guy was an outstanding pass rusher that we played against, and these two guys have called a switch call, and they just trade guys. The tackle slides in front because he's honestly an outstanding player. He's playing for the Nashville Titans now and doing a great job for them as a starter, and we switched them just to get our best player on their best player. The guard comes out and takes a defensive end. And that's a nice job of the switch call between those two, just to give them a different look. You can see the center working himself to his linebacker. His linebacker did not come, so he gets his head on a swivel and gets busy and gets behind. I like the fact that he's behind the front line of the rest of the offensive linemen, so he can react, and anything that he hits or hits him is in front of him, as you see happens right here. Here's a good example again of a power set that we talked about on a lineman that's a defensive lineman that's inside, and reacted to him quite nicely with his hands, and the center's able to help out, and then the guard becomes the wiper. If you look at it again, here's our scramble lane if we need it, and Peyton is great about throwing the ball on time, throws the ball out there, and gets a nice completion. Here's the offensive line with an all-out blitz. We've made a solid call in the middle right here, but you can see the great set right here by the offensive tackle out and back and getting himself in the inside-out position. Here the guard sets on the linebacker, and here he comes and he helps the center with as much as he can with his hand and his body position, his first initial set, and he comes off late and picks up the linebacker, and that's a really nice job. Center, nice job of finishing, understanding that he's getting pressure, and then the backside guard seeing his onside linebacker coming and picking up the linebacker inside out. The tight end moving himself to an inside position. This could be the fullback position as well as the tight end, and picking up the shooter. Here the offensive tackle gets a little bit forward and leaning, but he's at least forced the guy around the corner, picking up an all-out blitz and making a nice completion to a receiver down the field, outstanding receiver in Carl Pickens. I want to close out by just making a couple of points that I think are very important. Number one, football requires great character, and I love football players and I love the game of football. There are lessons to be learned in football that will carry you through life. The teamwork, the commitment, the sacrifice, the finishing of the job, the line touchers that we talked about, all are very, very important aspects that can be learned from football. I think the offensive line especially has an important role, and offensive linemen are unusual, special people. Guys that when you take 5 guys that have heartbeats and they got to beat as one, and you're able to put all that together, you're able to go and be successful in life when you can achieve that. More than any other position in the offensive line, you get a chance to be matched one-on-one in a ball game where you have a chance to make a difference. It's a game within a game. It puts you in a position to make a difference in the ball game. To break the will of the defense, to break the will of a single defender is your job. To find a way to win as an offensive lineman. And once you get all 5 of you guys doing that together, then you really have something special. To execute on a perfect play, a perfect block that gives you the chance to move the football to make the first down or score the touchdown that wins the game. It is a great feeling to be a part of. I helped the team win, and the team was successful because of me and my group of offensive linemen. I like to see young men play football because it parallels life very closely, in my opinion. The character that it builds, the work ethic that it teaches, the teamwork that it teaches for all of us work together for a common cause, the sacrifice, because it's not an easy game. It takes commitment. It takes a lot of hard work to be the best that you can be. But those are the same qualities that are going to get you very, very far in life, because life, fortunately or unfortunately, you're not going to be by yourself. You've got to work within the teamwork and within society. My favorite time in football is on the practice field. When you see a young man that comes in as a freshman and has a chance to, you see potential, but he's very untapped, and every day he goes to work to be better, and you see that progress, and by the time he's a sophomore, he's a little bit better, and as a junior and senior, he's an outstanding football player, and you know that you had a direct hand in that progress that he made. That makes me feel really good. You know, I've been asked many times how I feel right before a ball game, and to me that's the greatest of times when you feel prepared, and that's what I want our players to feel, that they've done their work, going all the way back to the off season, to spring practice, to summer, to two-a-days, that when they walk on that field for those 11 opportunities, in our case, that they're going to have on those Saturdays in the fall, that they feel prepared for battle. I think Phillip Fulmer, the football coach, probably epitomizes the old offensive lineman in me. I want to be known as an unselfish coach, as I was, I think, an unselfish player. I want people to remember that, hey, every day he went to work to be the best that he could be, that he was committed to his team and his university, and the successes that he did have, he shared with the people around him, the support groups and the coaches, and most of all, the players. Again, I want to say how proud and honored I am to be involved with this series of tapes, Legends of the Game. I want to wish everybody a lot of success out there, and I want to again reiterate the importance of what football can mean to young people as they develop through their life, and the sacrifice and the commitments are all worth it. And again, I wish you well.
I hope you've enjoyed this tape by Phillip Fulmer from Tennessee. Phillip is one of the great coaches currently in the game of football. His teams in recent years have been either at or near the top of college football in terms of rankings and in terms of performance. He himself was a great offensive lineman, great offensive line coach, and so I'm sure you've benefited greatly from his expertise in this area. This Legends of the Game video is one in a series of instructional tapes made for coaches, athletes, parents, and fans of the game of football. There are a total of 10 tapes available covering all aspects of football. We sought out the best coaches in the country in order to produce top quality instructional tapes. If you would like to order additional videos or receive more information about the Legends of the Game series, call 800-230-3831 or write us at Coaches Direct in Lincoln, Nebraska. You may also fax us at area code 402-465-8849, or you can visit us on our website at www.coachesdirect.com. Thank you for your interest in the game of football.